I have my meal plan for this week and my grocery list, and I'm off to the store. We are here at Price Chopper. I just need to pick up a few things from the produce and dairy sections. Here's our weekly grocery haul from Price Chopper. It's mainly dairy and produce. 2 gallons of milk, a couple of pints of heavy cream, 6 of the yogurts, and then tub of sour cream. I got the Land O'Lakes butter. It was $2.99 a pound, so I got 3 pounds. This Heidelberg bread sourdough, because we're going to have BLTs this week. The Jimmy Dean sausage was on sale for $3.99 a pound. I got 2 pounds. And then I got some tomatoes for the BLTs. I got some cherry tomatoes for salads, and some avocados, parsley, cucumber. I still have lettuce left over from last week, so I'll be making a salad this week, but I'll use what I have on hand. And then I just got 30 large eggs, and our total was $67.32. TGIF, thank goodness it's Friday. Ken's cooking some brats, hamburgers, and some hot dogs, and then we'll just kind of snack on them for lunches all weekend long. He was so excited to find these Yingling brats. We'll see if they taste any different. I just laid out some hamburger sauce. Those are some of those refrigerator pickles, lettuce, tomatoes, mayonnaise, ketchup, mustard, made some onion dip, chips. It's going to be an easy dinner tonight. For dinner tonight, I'm having a cheeseburger, a brat, and a little bit of potato chips. Everything looks delicious. It was easy peasy lemon squeezy. We're going to watch a movie, family night. I just went ahead and cooked the boneless, skinless chicken thighs on the grill. I brushed them with some maple syrup and sprinkled some of this Grill Mate Smokehouse maple seasoning on it. And I took a little piece, and oh my goodness, so good. I also have a very simple salad of lettuce, cranberries, and some candied pecans. On the side, I'm going to serve it with some pickled beets, blue cheese crumbles, and I just made a quick vinaigrette. Some of the kids don't like the beets or the blue cheese, so I'm going to serve them on the side. And we're also having corn on the cob. For dinner tonight, we're having a nice winter salad with greens, cranberries, candied pecans, pickled beets, blue cheese, and a vinaigrette, corn on the cob, and maple glazed chicken thighs we cooked on the grill. Dinner tonight, I heated up a spiral ham and made some scalloped potatoes and just sauteed some fresh veg in a little bit of butter, salt, pepper, and garlic. For dinner, we're having scalloped potatoes, baked spiral ham, and some fresh sauteed veg in butter, salt, and pepper, and garlic. Super easy. For dinner tonight, we're having the leek potato, ham, and cheddar soup. It is delicious, let me tell you. I'm also serving it with some homemade dinner rolls, my grandma's recipe. In my pot, I have a little bit of olive oil, an onion, 2 leeks, and a jalapeno with some salt and pepper. Just gonna cook this down a little bit. From the leftover ham dinner from last night, I went ahead and sliced a bunch of ham. We'll use this for lunches in ham and cheese sandwiches. We'll use it for breakfast to have ham and eggs. I kept the bone because I want to use it later for cooking with beans. So I'll stick this in my freezer, and then I'll be glad to pull that out. It'll give a lot of flavor when I make some bean soup. But today I cubed up a bunch of this ham, and I'm going to use it in our potato leek ham cheddar soup today. The onions and leeks have had a great head start, so I added the chunked ham, and I'm going to grate up a couple cloves of garlic and add that to this as well. smells wonderful. I added a couple of cloves of minced garlic and a bundle of fresh thyme, and I left the string on it so it'll be easy to fish out later. I added 4 cups of chicken stock. I also added the leftover scalloped potatoes. I also added 2 cups of a heavy whipping cream. And I'm just going to let this simmer low and slow for about 30 minutes. Let all the flavors mingle. I had just a couple spoonfuls of leftover veg from last night that I sauteed in butter and garlic. And I just added that to the soup as well, just to use it up. Finally, off the heat, I added a couple of cups of sharp cheddar. I'm just gonna let this melt into the soup, and then dinner is gonna be served. It looks delicious. In my bowl, I have 1 cup of warm water, a tablespoon of dry yeast, a 1/4 cup of sugar, teaspoon of salt, 1 egg, and 2 tablespoons of butter. Now that the yeast has activated, I added a total of 3 1/4 cups of flour, and as soon as it starts to pull away from the bowl, knead it for an additional 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, spray a bowl with cooking spray and put your dough ball in there. I covered mine with saran wrap, and I'm gonna let this sit until it doubles in size. Okay, the dough has risen. It's doubled in size. Just going to spray my counter with a little bit of cooking spray. Get the dough turned out. Such a beautiful dough. This is going to make 16 rolls. So I'm just going to divide it. I like to cup my hand and just roll the dough balls out on the counter. And then I'll get them into a sprayed dough pan here. This is the one I use for lemon tarts. I use this for making these rolls. All right, let me get the rest of these rolled out. Just gonna cover with a clean kitchen towel and let these rise. It takes about a half an hour, maybe 40 minutes. Okay, let's check on our rolls. Those look great. I have the oven preheated at 350. I'm gonna put the rolls in and cook them about 15-20 minutes. When the dinner rolls come out of the oven, you can brush the tops with some butter. For dinner tonight, we're having the leek potato ham cheddar soup. It's delicious. And then my grandma's dinner rolls. And if you've ever had Knott's Berry's Farms, that chicken restaurant they have there, their dinner rolls, that's what this is like. It's really light and fluffy. It's delicious. Such a good recipe and totally easy. I have some shredded beef that I had left over from a roast and homemade refried beans. I'm just going to soak it in water to defrost it, and we're going to have San Diego style tacos with guacamole, refried beans, and I'll show you guys how to make Mexican rice. I'm going to show you my quick Mexican rice. I have another way that I make it where I use fresh onions and tomatoes and garlic and peppers and stuff, but this one is good too. You'll need 3 tablespoons of oil, a cup of long grain rice, 8 ounces of tomato sauce, 2 cups of water, 2 tablespoons of this is the critical ingredient, and salt to taste. Usually I put in about 1/4 teaspoon. All right, let's get started. The first thing you're going to do is cook the rice in oil over medium heat in a heavy bottom pot for about 7 minutes, and you want to stir it almost continually because you don't want it to burn at all, but you want it to get nice and toasted. It's been about 7 minutes and the rice is nice and toasted. I'm going to add the 8 ounces of tomato sauce, and it's going to like splatter up, so watch for that. I'm going to cook this for a couple minutes so that the tomato sauce can kind of settle down. Now I'm just going to add 2 tablespoons of the chicken seasoning. along with 2 cups of water. Now that it's coming to a boil, I'm going to put the big heavy top on it. Turn the heat down to a low and simmer for 20 minutes. Don't lift the top. Don't do it. Just let it be. Cook it for 20 minutes. It's been 20 minutes. I'm turning off the heat and I'm gonna let it rest with the top on for another 10 minutes. I let it rest for the 10 minutes and you see how fluffy the rice is. And that is because we cooked our rice in oil and we didn't peek under the lid when it was cooking, and it makes the most perfect Mexican rice. Nice and fluffy, not sticky at all. I have a nice little station set up with some lettuce, tomato, shredded cheese, and sour cream. Ken's making the guacamole. Here's what our plate looks like. The San Diego style rolled tacos with homemade refried beans and Mexican rice. Guacamole. For dinner tonight, we are keeping it ultra simple. We're having bacon, lettuce, tomato, and avocado sandwiches. It looks delish. And my darling husband cooked it, so it's even better. Today, I'm going to be making some homemade garlic bread. I'm going to make 2 loaves and then some compound garlic butter. I'll show you how to do this. It's so good, you guys. I'm getting ready to make some bread. We're going to have manicotti for dinner, so I wanted to make some garlic bread. And I just use my pizza dough recipe. So in my bowl, I have 2 cups of warm water, a tablespoon of sugar, and a tablespoon of dry yeast. I'm just going to let this sit for a few minutes and the yeast will activate. It's only been like a minute or so, and you can already see that the yeast is activating. I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of olive oil. I'm also going to add 5 cups of flour. And finally, 2 teaspoons of salt. Now we're just going to get this mixed on our mixer stand with the dough hook attachment. Once the dough ball comes together, we'll continue to knead it for another 5 minutes. You can see the dough is starting to come together very nicely. We're going to keep kneading this for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, place the dough in a bowl that's been sprayed with oil, and you can see it's not a sticky dough, but it's not dry either. I'm just going to put a cloth over it and just let it rest for a little bit. I don't need to do a full rise on it, but I'm just going to wait about 15 minutes and then roll it out. All right, it's probably been like 15-20 minutes. And like I said, I didn't bring it to a full rise. That's okay. This looks great. I'm just going to spray the counter with some olive oil spray. And get the dough turned out. By letting it rest, it's just going to make it a little easier to work with. And using a rolling pin, I'm just going to try to get this rolled out. Now that I have it rolled out, I'm just going to cut the dough in half because I'm going to make 2 rolls. I'm going to make 2 loaves of bread. So let me just start by rolling the dough up. Kind of pinching off where it comes together. And then at the ends, just kind of tuck them in, pinch them. Perfect. I have a sheet tray that's been lined with parchment paper and it looks great. I'm going to get the other one rolled up. I got the 2 loaves rolled out and I'm just going to let this rise for probably 20-30 minutes. It's a little chilly today, so it might take a little longer. Usually it takes about 20 minutes, but I'll check it. 20-30 minutes and let it rise. I'll set the oven for 375 so it can preheat. Well, the bread has risen and it looks pretty good. I'm going to take a knife and put some slashes in here. Now this kind of helps some of the steam release, so it makes the loaf look nice when it's baked, but it also serves a function. I'm making a little bit of an egg wash. I have an egg and about a tablespoon of cream, and I'm just going to whip this together really well and then brush it on top of the loaves of bread. My oven is preheated at 375. And we're going to bake these for about 20-25 minutes. These look great. I have them cooling on a wire rack. In the meantime, I'm going to make some garlic butter. To make the compound garlic butter, I have 1 cup of softened butter, 4 cloves of garlic that I shaved on the microplane, really fine, 1 teaspoon of kosher salt, a tablespoon of olive oil, a tablespoon of lemon juice, a tablespoon of minced parsley, a teaspoon of minced shallots, just a pinch of the dried Italian seasoning. I'm going to get this all mixed together, and there you go. You can also freeze this compound butter. It freezes beautifully. I'll put a link in the description box to that recipe and how I freeze it. Then just cut the bread horizontally and into serving size pieces. I added some of our garlic butter. I'm going to get this into a hot 400 degrees oven and let it crisp up. Making a really quick sauce. I have a tablespoon of olive oil, an onion that I diced, salt and pepper, a little bit of red pepper flakes, and Italian seasoning. I want to get this where the onions are all softened. Now that the onions have cooked down, I added a pound of Italian sausage and a pound of lean ground beef, and we're just going to get this browned. I just added a couple of cloves of garlic that I finely minced. I want to get the meat browned. Next, I'm going to add some tomato sauce. This happens to be some tomatoes that Ken and I went and picked and then cooked them down and took out the skins and seeds. I'm adding about 9 cups. You could use canned for sure. Now I'm just going to bring this to a simmer, reduce the heat, and simmer it for about 20 minutes. The sauce looks great, so I'm going to turn off the heat and get this manicotti all put together. I'm making the filling for the manicotti. In my bowl, I have 32 ounces of cottage cheese. You could use ricotta or like a combination of ricotta and cottage cheese. I have half a cup of grated Parmesan, 1 cup of Italian breadcrumbs, 3 eggs, and 8 ounces of shredded mozzarella. I'm going to get this all mixed together. This is what the filling should look like. We're just going to go ahead and get the cooked manicotti shells filled with this filling and into a pan. I went ahead and I stuffed the manicotti, and I have it in a baking dish, half of it for tonight's dinner, and then I'm going to do a freezer meal. The manicotti comes in a package of 14, and depending on your family size, you can break it down and maybe get 2 or 3 meals out of one of these dinners. So now I'm just going to top these with the meat sauce we made. I'm going to place this one in a 350 degree oven, and I'll get this one packaged for the freezer. I'm getting this one into the freezer so that we'll have a meal in reserve. It's a pretty good feeling. Also, I'm going to take the other loaf of bread. I put the garlic butter on it, and I'm going to get it double wrapped in foil. I'm going to put this with the manicotti in the freezer. It'll make a really easy dinner or lunch. I have it labeled homemade garlic bread, October 2019. But I'm sure we'll use this relatively soon. So into the freezer they go. For dinner, we're having stuffed manicotti with a meat sauce on top, salad, and homemade garlic bread.